what I wanted to do with you today was not so much make a card, but just to introduce you to the new products that are coming to TV next Monday. So let's just run through quickly everything else that I'm going to be using. So I'm using the dewdrops. They're super, absolutely brilliant. I'm also using the foiled and plain sticker sentiments. I'm also using this beautiful little stencil, which comes from the SLIMLINE Essentials. There's a set of 3. Now, I'm using this set today, the double aperture circles, and I know they're sold out. So the other set that Lisa did was a set of circles, different sizes, but you get circles and rectangles and all the masks to go in them as well. So, you know, they're a really good set for the price of them. And as I say, those are sold out at the moment, but that's what I've actually used today. And then I've used the TATTY words, and I'm also using the urn, jug and vases. So let's get on to what is going to be on the show next week. These are adorable. They are so useful. You're going to be able to use them in so many ways. So these are the flower blooms. Now there are 10 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 10 different flowers on here. 2 of each variety, a small and a large. Now they're not huge. I mean, these are the dies for them. You can see they're not huge flowers. They're just the perfect size to fit with the vases, the jugs, anything that you've already got. They will fit fabulously with. They're beautiful. Now, what I would say is, when you've stenciled your flowers, don't try and put the whole piece into your embossing folder and emboss it all in one go, because they won't all line up perfectly. So I've done it several ways, and the easiest way I found was to cut your piece of card. Once you've stenciled your flowers, cut your piece of card so you've got 2 flowers on each, and then put them in your embossing folder and emboss them. Okay, I embossed them and then I die cut them, and then I put them back through the embossing folder to just re-emboss them, if you like. I know it sounds like a faff, but it really is worth it. And the reason I embossed them before I die cut them was because the dies will then sit round the flower and hardly move at all. So it's worth spending that little bit of extra time and double embossing them, because it really is just worth it. So those are your flower blooms. Now, to go with flowers, you need leaves, don't you? So these are the leaves, foliage elements, and they are beautiful. This ivy here, this is my absolute favourite. I love this. It's gorgeous. And one of my samples that you will see on TV, what I did was I stenciled it and I die cut it, and then I used Lisa's glitter paste, the glitter paste that she introduced, was it last show before, and I put that through the last layer with all the details on, and then let that dry completely. I left it sort of half a day really. Probably takes about 45 minutes, but I wanted to make absolutely certain that it was totally dry, and then I put it through my embossing machine. Oh my word, it looks amazing. That glitter paste is fabulous. So if you haven't got it, or you weren't sure whether you wanted it, oh you can. Oh you can. So yeah, those are the foliage elements, and well, all I can say is, when you see the samples that the girls are going to start and show after my live, you will be blown away. There are some awesome samples. They're beautiful and all achievable with this. Anybody can achieve what is being shown in the group, I promise you. So those are the foliage elements. And then to go along with all of those, we have the modern berries. And these are just dies, totally just dies. They're a reasonable size. See, they're a beautiful size. Now I have a Spellbinders Platinum die cutting machine, and my plates are, let me show you, sort of like what is it, A5 size, and they all fit on here in one go. So if you wanted to cut them out and have a sort of a session of die cutting, you can, and you can put them all on one plate on one piece of card and cut them all in one go. Awesome, amazing, and they're beautiful. So you can see what I've been doing for the last, I don't know, several hours, is I've been cutting them all out, and I've cut them in lots of different colours. The only colour I haven't cut them in, obviously, is white. Why I haven't cut any in white, I really don't know. But so you've got a left and a right on each one. Now you've also got a left and a right on this little single stem here. Now you'd think, well, what do you mean a left and a right? They're straight, but they're not. If you look at them, they are different. So the berries sit to opposite sides, so they will sort of have a slight bend to them. So there is a left and a right to that one as well, and they're fabulous. They will go with so many things. The alphabets that Lisa bought you recently. Now I know a lot of you went for the plain alphabets and the numbers, because the cost of the floral alphabets was out of reach for a lot of you, and I appreciate that, and so does Lisa. So you bought the plain alphabets and the plain numbers. These will go with them a treat, as well these, because they will work so beautifully. These are a little bit bigger than the flower elements that came with the plain alphabets, but they'll still look fantastic on them because they're just that little bit bigger. So you've got two looks really with your alphabets, because you can use these as well, and these in the background. They'll be fabulous. There is a particular sample that will pop up in the group. I'm not going to say who it is, and it's my absolute favourite, and it uses a lot of these. It's awesome. I mean, all the samples are awesome, I have to say, but that one in particular is beautiful. So, because I've waffled a bit, the only one I'm going to go through with you is the leaves, purely and simply because I just think you can do so much with the leaves. You can do the colours, you can change so beautifully. So these are the stencils for the flowers. There are only 4, and there aren't lots of details for all of them. The only detail that you're going to get really is for the top 4. And when I first started using them, I thought, well, Lisa hasn't done any detail for these flowers. We don't need it. So if you don't need it, why bother trying to do it? These flowers, when you emboss them, the detail is in the embossing folder. So whilst you've got detail in these, which enhance the flower, with these, the embossing enhances the flower. So whatever colours you're using, your embossing folder will enhance that for you. It's such a clever concept. It's brilliant. Right, so because Lisa doesn't do a brown, I'm actually going to use red and green on the stems of my leaves. Okay, so here, so all these stems here, I'm going to use red and green to make my brown. All right, so where's my red brush gone? There. So let's start with the red. Now, the one thing I would say is I'm using the blending inks, but because all of these apertures are really quite small, your pigment inks will work equally as well, and you will probably get a deeper colour, because the pigment it's quite a fast drying pigment ink, but it will give you a deeper colour than the blending inks. So if you wanted to use, you know, a really deep red on here, use your pigment inks, because you'll get a really good crisp finish. You'll get a nice finish with the blending inks, but your pigments will work equally as well. Just in case you've only got one set, like because you do a lot of stamping, so you only bought the pigments, you can still blend with them. I know Lisa said that before, but you know, she's stating a fact. They will blend, although they're not designed to blend. Right, so I've done my red. Let's put the right lid on. And then I'm going to come in with my green on top. Now the red and green are going to make brown, but it will have a really red tinge to it, which is great because that's sort of like chestnut brown. And it was, I didn't plan it, I just sort of thought, well, I'll try it, see what it looks like. And I was really happy with the result. The set that I did this morning, I did 2 layers. So I did a red layer, and then I went over the red again. So by the time I got to the end here, this was dry. So I went back and did another red layer, and then I did 2 layers of green. And the brown that it gave me was fabulous. A really rich, sort of chestnutty brown. It was beautiful. So I'm only doing one layer today, just for speed really, but just something to bear in mind. If you want a deeper shade, then go over it twice. It'll be brilliant. Okay, see, that's a beautiful brown. So just because Lisa doesn't have a brown yet, don't worry about it, it'll still be fab. Right, so stencil number 2 is going to give you all your leaf bases. Now I'm going to use my bijou brush because it's quicker and it'll give me a fabulous coverage anyway. So I'm going in with my Squeeze Lemonade, beautiful colour, going quite deep on this. You don't have to, you can go, you know, really gentle if you wanted to. All you need to do is just take some of the ink off before you go down onto your card, and then you'll have a softer finish. Depends what you're looking for really. But it's so quick. It's really satisfying seeing different shades of the same colour if you use different ink pads. So this morning I used the yellow, and then I added Tranquil Waters on top, and the Tranquil Waters gave me a really beautiful vivid green. So I don't know what I'm decided what I'm going to use on here yet. I may use Surf's Up on this one, but whichever blue you choose to add to your yellow, you'll get a different shade of green. Obviously you could use Woodland Moss and go with Lisa's green. Hi Catherine, hi Natalia, no problem. So you could go with Lisa's green and just do a base green in Woodland Moss, but it's nice to be able to add some different colours together and make different shades of green. So that's my yellow. I will go with Tranquil Waters just so that I can show you what sort of fabulous colour it gives me. Now when I do this, you'll see that it will give me a blue line on the edges of where the stencils are sitting. Don't worry about that, because once you've finished and you've done all your blending, that'll disappear. Okay, so if I've got a bit of card somewhere, just take off a bit of the blue and then go in with my Tranquil Waters. So you can see here, I don't know whether you can see on the camera, it does look quite blue. It won't when I've finished. When I did this morning, I thought, oh no, perhaps I shouldn't have used Tranquil Waters, perhaps I should have gone with the Surf's Up or the Deep Ocean. But actually by the time I'd finished, it was fab. So wait until you've finished, don't judge it until you've done everything, and then judge it, then decide whether you like it. You can always go in and add another colour on the top, just to change it up a bit if you wanted to. And I am going to add a different colour on top of all of this when I've just finished doing all this blue. Okay, there's a little bit heavy there, but it will disappear, trust me. Okay, so before I take that off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my red. Okay, so I'm going in with the red, and I'm literally taking quite a bit of the red ink off onto my stencil, and then I'm going to come in and brush it upwards across that leaf. Now, it might look a little bit bizarre, but when you've finished, it will look fabulous. I've washed these stencils about 3 times this morning and yesterday, because of all the colours that I've used, but it was so worth it, so worth it. Don't worry if you've got sort of splodges where you think, oh, I've gone a bit heavy-handed, I'll scrap it and I'll start again. Don't. Just keep going, because it's worth it, and you'll see what I mean when I've finished. They're very forgiving. The blending inks blend so beautifully anyway, but when you've added all the detail on top, you really won't notice any sort of places where you might have been a little bit more heavy-handed than you wanted to be. I promise you, it's so much fun just experimenting with colour. You know, yes, we like green leaves, but leaves aren't always green, are they? And when you see the samples in the group this afternoon, you'll see what I mean. There are some fabulously shaded leaves on the samples that are going to be in the group. They're beautiful, and it's just a case of just go with it, go with the flow. Have a look at what inks you've got. I mean, obviously I'm using Lisa's inks, but I know a lot of you have got distress inks, so if that's all you've got, then use those. But just experiment a little bit, take yourself out of your comfort zone, and just basically go with the flow. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bit of card, but just experiment. You know, it's like Lisa with the grey. You know, I know a lot of you have said, I'd never have thought of using grey to add shading and the things that Lisa's done with grey ink. And it's not until you try it that you think, actually, yeah, she's right, it does work. Okay, let's lift that up and see what that's like. Fabulous. See what I mean about different colours and the effect that they give you? You know, it's just experimenting. It's fun. It is really good fun. Just think about, when you're out and about, just think about what you're looking at in the trees. When you look at a tree, it's not green, is it? There's so many colours in a tree and on a tree leaves. So, you know, just think about that. Now then, I'm going in here with my yellow. Where is that? I've put the yellow. And I'm going to put my detail on my leaves in a sort of a dark green. So I'm going in with my squeezed lemonade to start with. I don't mind how deep this is because I'm going over it with a blue. Now on the ones I did this morning ready, I used Deep Ocean, and I think whilst they look fab, I think I'm going to go in with Surf's Up on these just to give it a slightly different look. I did think about using red, but I decided against it. I thought, shall I use red and green so that the veins are sort of a browny colour, but I decided against that in the end, and I thought, no, I'll stick with green, but I'll make it a darkish green. I could use Woodland Moss, but I wanted it to be a little bit darker than Woodland Moss. So you can see how quick this is. Now, considering I waffled on a bit at the beginning about the product, because there's only 3 stencils on the leaves, it's so quick and easy. And yes, okay, I've probably done the equivalent of 6 stencils because I've used 2 colours in several places. So you can see there, I'm not sure whether you can actually pick up the yellow on the camera. Just wait for my iPad. slightly, I think, but trust me, the yellow is there. And when I add the blue over the top, it will make all the difference. So I'm going to go in with Surf's Up. And again, I'm going to start off by taking quite a bit off and work up from the bottom so that my veins, I'll just show you this first one, stand out. Now, it looks blue to me here, but when I take all this off and you look at it as a whole piece, I promise you it will look green, because obviously blue and yellow make green, but you're putting the blue on last, so the blue is going to be sort of the prominent colour. You can go in afterwards and add a little bit more yellow if you want. I'm leaving these two. I'm going to do these two a different colour. But it's entirely up to you how you do your green. Whatever sort of shade you're looking at, just go with the flow. It's just so much fun experimenting and just seeing the different effects, seeing what they look like when you've finished. It's fabulous. So, and it's quick, it's really quick and easy, and the fact that you can just lift the stencil, have a look at what you've done, and then put it back if you're not happy and go over it again, because you've got that fabulous peg system on the Ultimate, and obviously the Ultimate 2 when it comes in for the States, which obviously will be available here as well. That it's just a genius concept, and I can't understand why nobody's thought of it before, but Lisa did, and it's awesome. So let's just have a quick look at, yeah, like that. See, I haven't gone too heavy with that blue, although it looked like I was. I haven't gone that heavy. So on these other two, I'm going to go back with my red, because these are sort of, for me, these two scream sort of autumn. Probably because of the shape of them. I don't know why, but I just decided I would do these a little bit different. Just because I could, really. I mean, you can go in and make them whatever colours you like, but yeah, happy with that. So we just go in and pop some green on the top, and then we're done. Now I'm not going to cut them out because I've done loads already to show you, and that's why I've only done the leaves really, because I've done loads of the flowers. Okay, yeah, happy with that. Happy, happy, happy. Now you can see how quick and easy that was. Yeah, if I just lift that up a little bit so that you can see it in more detail. The red and the green on here have given me a beautiful brown, and the red on the shading. You see where I said there were a couple of places I went a little bit heavy-handed? Now you can't see it. I know it's there because I've done it, and you know it's there because you've just watched me do it. But when you've cut them out and you've added them to a project, nobody's going to notice that. So just experiment, enjoy them, have fun with them, which is exactly what I did yesterday and today. I'm so glad I changed the time of my lives to 1 o'clock, because I'd never have got everything done. So you see, I've done loads here, and this is really, it's probably 2 sets, but look how many projects I'm going to be getting out of them. And then I did the flowers, and I've done different colourways with the flowers, and I've just had so much fun. I've got purples. I mean, you wouldn't expect me not to do purple flowers, would you? I've done pinks, pink roses, pink pretty flowers. And all I've done with these, really, I've done the same technique on every single one. I've started, number 1 gives you your base of your flowers, okay? You don't have to use number 1. Good, Jan, I'm glad. You don't have to use number one. Number one will give you your base. But if you don't want to use number one, don't. Because then you'll have a white base or whatever colour card you've added it to. Okay. Number two is going to give you all your detail. So on the roses, sort of like these here, that's all your detail that you're going to get on a stencil. And then the last two stencils give you your extra detail on these and your extra detail on these. And that, it really is all you need. So when I sort of looked at them and thought, oh, she hasn't done this bit on the stencil, you don't need it. It's fabulous. It's just brilliant. And they're such beautiful flowers. So because I did like lots, all I did was start in the middle. So here, I started in the middle and worked my way out with my colour. So that's why I've got a deeper centre, and then it gets softer towards the edges. So particularly on the orange and the yellow, I started with orange in the middle, and then I've gone with yellow on the outside, just to make it look a little bit different. I mean, you can do them a solid colour if you want. It's entirely up to you. It's like I've just said. Enjoy them, have a play, experiment, and you'll come up with so many different things. You will just be amazed. So the one I was going to use on here was my ivy, because it's just beautiful. And these are such quick cards that I can just put them together while you're just watching this last little bit. So I'm going to put that on the edge of my circle. And obviously I've used my aperture circle like Lisa did. Put that in the wrong place, but never mind. I do like a 10-fold card rather than a side opening, but this one's going to be side opening now. And then all I'm adding to that is 2 flowers. Now on my sample for TV I've used these, and I think they're such beautiful flowers. You could use whatever you wanted. I might use these actually today, just to make it look a little bit different. Now I would raise these up. I've used ordinary glue to put the ivy down, but what I'm going to do is just shape those around a little bit, not too much because you don't want to lose the embossing, and then pop my 3D glue gel in the middle, just one little blob, not using too much, and then find the way round that you want to put your flower, add it down like that. So simple, so quick and easy. And where's my sentiments? I'm going to use my sticker sentiments. This is such a quick and easy card. And just add my sentiment down here. So slightly under those flowers there, making sure it's straight. And then I would add some little dewdrops around there. They're in my pile to the left of me, so I can't find them in the minute, but I will add dewdrops to that. And that is as simple as it gets. It's so easy, so quick. And once you've done all this, you're going to be able to knock cards out like that. It will just be just so quick and easy. So the other one that I did, or prepped, was this one. And I've used the stencil. And all I was going to do was add my vase at the side, decide which leaves that I wanted to use. Haven't really thought about what leaves I was going to use, to be honest. Possibly those, and a couple of flowers. Now because I've used orange and yellow in the background on the stencil, I'm going to go with the orange and yellows that I've done. So I'm going to start with the rose at the bottom, lift those leaves up a little bit, and then just choose one of the others, maybe just 3, just to add them to the vase, and then my little sentiment at the side. Now these are the tatty words. I just put my sentiment at the side. How quick and easy is that? If you wanted to, you could add some of your modern berries in behind that. I mean, those would just be perfect colours to use, just to add in the background underneath your flowers. And that's what I say about this set, particularly this modern berries. It's gonna fit in with so many of your other products that you've already got. Not just Lisa's, obviously. They're just going to come in so useful. They'll be further down than that, obviously. But it just finishes your card off. And you know, and they're quick and they're easy and they're fun and they're just utterly, utterly useful. I hope I've given you some ideas. I hope I've given you some inspiration to go and maybe purchase them. I really don't think you'd regret it. There is so much to come. I can't begin to tell you. It's going to be so exciting. If you thought 2022 was good, 2023 is going to be awesome. Have a fabulous weekend and thank you so much for joining me. See you all soon. Bye now.